is day 431 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor or come and share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. Very greatly appreciated. Today we are supposed to be doing from Reish Tzadik Gimel and on to Reish Tzadik Daled Ches, but in fact, by mistake, I included Reish Tzadik Gimel in yesterday's shir, day 430. So now we're doing actually Reish Tzadik Daled Aleph to Ches. If you'll notice, I am back home after being in Eretz Yisrael for a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I left in my son's suitcase, who did not come directly home, my Arukh HaShulchan with Piskei Mishnah Berurah. So until I am able to retrieve that, which may be several days, we're going to do Arukh HaShulchan without Piskei Mishnah Berurah, and hopefully we won't suffer that much in the process. When I get it back, perhaps we'll devote time from doing the Piskei Mishnah Berurah from the beginning of Sim Reish Tzadik Daled. Aleph. So this is outside Dina Avdallah B'Tfilah who Atochan Atanu. Halacha Avdallah Davening, and that is Atochan Atanu. Aleph. Kashem Shkiddush B'Tfilah B'Alakos, just like the Kiddush is in davening and on the cup. We do both. Kmo Chen Avdallah Tzarech Avdil B'Tfilah. So too by Avdallah you have to do Avdallah, but in davening. V'Hashemasi B'Bracha Atoch B'Yiras Tochanein. You add in the bracha B'Atochanein Atochan Atanu V'Tavlenu Shem Lokeinu Mikodesh L'Chol. You bestow grace upon us and separated between sanctity and profanity, or mundane, the sacred and the mundane. V'gam alakos, also make a bracha Avdallah on the cup. V'chach tiknu anshe knesset hagdola, shetzorech Avdallah b'tfilah uvakos. This is a takara from the anshe knesset hagdola. V'hausaken yenuchu lo brachos our show. Person who does this, blessings are bestowed on his head. The tiknu Avdallah b'chonei das, they put Avdallah into chonei das neishi chachma, because it is a because it takes intelligence to distinguish between sanctity and that which is sacred and which is mundane. That's why they put in the bracha of intelligence. That through this this sounds like a little bit choppy here. It seems like it's a bit redundant here. Anyway, Shal Yedei Hadas Achnu was Kirim Malas Hamenucha. Also, by our wisdom, we know how to mention the distinction between the high level of the rest of Shabbos. We know to distinguish between that which is sacred and mundane, and which is mundane. Fourth, and the two of this from the Rabbeinu Yonah, maybe that's why it's a bit choppy, because he gave two reasons here. But the famous line, "V'im ein day off," there is no wisdom, ein havdalah. There is no way of distinguishing. In other words, wisdom is what allows us this, gives capacity to distinguish between things. V'adas b'gashmius hu das be'emi. The wisdom about things which are material is this, an animalistic wisdom, because even animals don't distinguish between material things. V'ikar das, for the primary wisdom, Baruchlius, is about spiritual things. V'udiyas HaTorah, which is knowledge of Torah, Kimus HaSeh, and fulfillment of his mitzvahs. Zeu Shomri, that which he say, you gave us bestowed upon us the wisdom of the knowledge of your Torah. And taught us to do in them the laws of your will, the laws which are your will to bestow upon us. So, and you distinguish between holiness, that which is sacred, and that which is profane, so they are linked to each other. My son just WhatsApp me that it's the Arukh HaShulchan Piskei Mishnah is not by him. Perhaps even worse, it's by somebody else. I gave some story to bring home, which will take even longer. Oh well. Pays. Some say Shekevon Shomrim Atochan Atanu Shumen Tzorech Lomar Atochan. I've wondered about this my whole life and never actually saw it discussed before, which means I probably never did the simon before, either in Arukh HaShulchan or Mishnah Berurah, but which why we say Atochan Elam Das, and then say Tochan Antonu Madat Torah seems to be redundant, right? So some people say, in fact, they say since you say Tochan Antonu, you don't have to say a Tochan Range. Do careful inyan, because it's redundant. But many great people required both. There are really two things. That which you bestow upon man, wisdom. This is on the wisdom which is bestowed on all humanity. Like for the first elements of logic. Which is the distinction between man and animal. The Madat Torah it's on the wisdom of Torah. Now, Arukh HaShulchan grants that it says at the end of the bracha, that's certainly going on the Chachma being on Das of Torah. But the beginning of the bracha, you can say it's going on human intelligence in general. The Torah is also perhaps going on Chachma Torah. In fact, not on Chachma in general. The Chachma is going on the Chachma of distinguishing. We say v'chonenu meidcha al elkai. Not v'chonenu, but v'chonenu. Because going that which said previously. Some people say twice. Or suggest saying twice. Once achas koyin Tochan Antonu, once before Tochan Antonu, and achas la'achar kach, once afterwards, which is what we do where we do it today. His position was rejected. Then we see Bach and Taras discuss this. The Yerushalmi says, why do we say Tochan Antonu to begin in the middle brachas? The Kashem Shos Lesos Malachat, you have deal just like you're not allowed to do Malacha until Havdalah Kamochin. Also, we bought Srachav, Koyim Havdalah, so too we can't ask for your needs before Havdalah. That's why you say Havdalah at the beginning of the brachos, which are the Bakoshos in Shemon Esrei. I have a question. Came the Chachamim Tiknu B'Havdalah, well, the Kiddush, since Chachamim made the same parameters by Havdalah like by Kiddush. She had Gam B'Tfilah should be both in Daven and Gam Akos and on a cup. Much Kosavnu Zemavor B'Brachos Ki Kiddush. It says in Brachos Davlam Gil, it's like Kiddush. Ma Kiddush Avagav the Mekadosh B'Tzleis, and they make Kiddush during Davening. Mekadosh Akah, so you also make Kiddush on a cup. Havdalah Chulei, so too Havdalah the same thing. Ayin Sham. It came Lama Lo Tiknu Bracha B'Havdalah Tefillah. So why did they make a separate bracha for Havdalah during Davening? Just to make a second bracha of Kiddush during Davening. I have to say the Ba'alei Shtei brachas is davar echad kasher l'takin. Can move on. It says it's difficult to make two brachas on one thing, as is obvious, I guess, because Havdalah and Deah are connected to each other, so it would be difficult to distinguish, to duplicate the bracha. L'chein lo do bracha b'Havdalah. That's they make a separate bracha b'Havdalah. V'zeh sh'ting b'kiddush l'mishim b'chulas ha'kiddush. And that, the truth is that which you made the bracha in kiddush is not because of kiddush per se. El mishum k'chovas tefillah, but it's the ikar chiv of davening. Shein bracha acheres b'tefillah Shabbos. There is no other bracha in tefillah Shabbos. You know, eges b'chol tefillos, and this nusach of that bracha is in all the brachas. I feel it's a leika kiddush, even by the tefillos where there is no kiddush corresponding to them, k'mo musav mincha. Avo b'Havdalah the tefillah yeshut has brachos, but by Havdalah davening there's another 19 brachos. Lo to see bracha l'Havdalah. Then why I add a bracha of Havdalah v'dai b'Havdalah shalakos. So I think I made a mistake before. He said that it was difficult to massage two brachas on one thing. He really meant not two brachas on Havdalah and Havdalah in da and not two brachas on das. But he meant it's difficult to make two brachas on one thing, meaning kiddush on a cup and Havdalah and tefillah. It's redundant. It's just we had no choice by Shabbos because there'd be no bracha, no Shemon Esrei if we didn't make a bracha on Shabbos and no Shemon Esrei. But since there are other brachas during Shemon Esrei Marav, therefore we didn't wanted to create the redundancy of two separate brachas, one al hakos and one during davening, and therefore we put the bracha of Tochan Antonu into the bracha of Tochan. Dalit. Oh, yes, you show. That's another question. Arba Avdolos. How do we say 4 separations or distinctions? Because between the sacred and the mundane, ben between light and darkness, ben between Jews and non-Jews, ben Yom HaShish and Maaseh, between the 7th day and the 6 days of activity. And the more asked on this from that which we hold, somebody who says a minimum of distinctions should say no less than 3. And somebody who says more should not say more than 7. Yesh Kreda, definitely Sparm Halolu. Rome says in Yonim, and it's clear from Tosis there that specifically 3 and 7, and not the middle numbers. The T rates, the Tosis answers, the Bain Yom HaShish that distinction between the 7 days, the 7th day and the 6 days of activity, and the Mispar Avdot, it's not one of the distinctions. It's there because we need the signature of the bracha adjacent to the signature of the bracha should be a synopsis of the bracha, and that's why it appears. Ayin Sham. But ask the question. Now it's difficult, says the Arukh HaShulchan. The Bishlam Al-Kos, I understand one, the cup, Sheish Chasima, where there is the signature, Tzarkmina Chasima Samachla. You need something similar to the signature, adjacent to the signature. Ava B'tfil, Lech Chasima, but by davening, there is no signature. Lo have along the main ben Yom HaShvius Sheish L'Me'amah. We shouldn't say the 4th distinction between the 7th day and 6 days of activity. I stand by Avdol between Motzei Shabbos and Yontif. Amir Nusach Zeh, we say that language. Because in that Avdol we do say 7 Havdolos. Which because of the Shom. Avo Avdol Tefillah B'Kol, but the Avdol of davening in the joining into a weekday, kosh is difficult. So I have to say came in al kos. So nusach zeh. Obviously, this is the obvious answer. Since you have to say this nusach on the cup, so lo ratzu l'shanas gam. They didn't want jurisdiction in davening. Ulai dakpeda leka rak bakos. Or perhaps you could say that the issue of 3 and 7 specifically pertains to the cup. The cup havdalah. Nikom ein zeh misiyashev aleim. Nevertheless, Arukh HaShulchan is not great. It doesn't find this to be a great answer. It's better not to say this 4th distinction, but tzorich iyun golo. It's very, very difficult. And he says in brackets, Mordechai asked the same question. Hey, Tov Shachach, you made a mistake. We got Lomar talking on the B'Tefillah. It's going to say talking on the in Atachonain. Ain't so you don't have to go back. She have the other coast because then you're going to say the later other coast. Even though you didn't do what Chachamim instituted, it was inadvertent. But he's still not allowed to malacha until he says Baruch Hamad and Kodesh L'chol. He's brought up in Reish Tzadik Test, which will be clarified later on. He told Gam because he made a mistake also when he may have done in the cup. Kagon Shetom to Kodim Havdalah, such as you tasted food before you made Havdalah. Avagab the Kaim Tom Mavdil. Even though we hold that you do, even though that you did taste, you should nevertheless still make Havdalah ala kos. Mikom toast mi ha'ika. Nevertheless, you made a mistake. The tzorech la'azor li'spalel. Wow, you have to daven over again. Amazing, because you messed up in Havdalah ala kos. V'chein paskal rosh v'rash Rabbeinu Yonah v'atur v'shalom. Umukar din mehad amar bracha sham ta bezu chayzer rosh. The Gemara seems to say that. It says he made a mistake in this and that. You go back to the beginning. Bishop is saying shetah b'tefillah gambakos, and shetah kodim akos. Even though you made the Havdalah, l'chein chayzer tefillah akos, after you go back and start from scratch. Rambam Perek Yod mitfil lo hiskidin. The Rambam does not mention this. Be'emes ain't move on. Truth is, it's very difficult to understand. Is the tikkun yeh l'masha toam? How's it fixed? That when she tasted food before Havdalah in Yashvi's spell just because to go back and down again. V'mishul the came in the Havdalah kos kohen. And if you'll say it's because the Havdalah in the cup is not appropriate, maybe because he tasted. Tzorich l'avdil b'tefillah. That's why to go back and make Havdalah again during in davening. Hagam b'tefillah lo yeh kohen. That's no better. Because the tefillah also, it's no good. Neitim also because he tasted before the Havdalah, whether it's the tefillah or the kos Havdalah or the tefillah Havdalah. V'emes kasu talmid Rabbeinu Yonah shom the knasu. They say it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't necessarily fix anything. It's a fine. We penalized you. But you should tom karim Havdalah because you tasted for Havdalah. You got to go back to scratch. Ayin shom. Any movement is not understandable. The Maya same time Meshoge, waved it inadvertently, unintentionally. It's only when you deliberately taste it from the cup. Have they ever saying farish? You should have said specified that. Vote furthermore, imushim knasa, if it's because of his penalty. Need to say amashu lo he deal with tefillah. Let's make him. Let's penalize him if he forgets to drink davening alone. V'yachzor rosh, go back to the beginning. B'shloiv deal with tefillah. Anybody didn't make avdol drink davening. First of all, and also, where do we find a penalty when it has to do over tefillah as a penalty? We find tashlumin, make it up. We don't find it as a penalty. It's really making a person say a lot of brachas for no good reason. A guy that came and Chacham means a true Chacham institute. It's not brachas. You test brachas chinam, but why are they going to say 19 brachas which are not essential? Zayin. L'chein else 19. So Rambam Zayin Farish Perish Achar B'Gemara. Rambam's different interpretation of Gemara. V'tah b'zeh b'zeh, and when it says he made a mistake in both this and this, Hachibush means to say the Tah Od Be'ez Bracha Me'em Tzoyis. If you made a mistake in any other bracha of the middle brachas, the din of the chayzer rosha bracha, the halach is it goes back to the beginning of bracha, shetah above which he made a mistake, calls mashlishin tefillah unless he, as long as he hasn't completed his tefillah, mush kosan sim kufyu tes, aval hacha shetah lo iskir gama tachan antanu, but he made a mistake because he didn't mention tachan antanu, chozer la rosh, he goes back to the beginning, klomar la rosh brachas em tzoyos. The beginning of the middle brachas. Avagad b'shvila lo yachozer. Even though for the Tachan himself alone, you not go back. But since you made a mistake also, made a mistake in one of the other brachas, so you have to go back for that. Chozer nami b'shvila. It goes back also to the beginning of a Tachan because he forgot a Tachan as well. Ach gam zeh lo hevi. But also the Rambam does not say this anywhere explicitly, so that's difficult. I'm not sure it explains the Rambam. We're saying Rambam by saying something he didn't say. Bracket says here, Barash B'Kasa Batam, that came in the Torah Gamre, since he made a complete mistake, not saying Havdalah in Shmoneh, and then eating before Havdalah. Chosek Kazisha, go back to the proper order. Simcha, and the simon for this is in bowl and apples. You don't have to sift flour which you're selling if it's less than 1/24th of a bran inside it, of a bran or other granules. But if you come to sift, you have to sift everything. Ayin sham. According to our interpretation, it's a better parallel. You don't have to go back to the beginning of the brachas themselves. But if you made a mistake, then you have and forgot to talk, then you go back to the beginning. Okay, but the opinions of our rabbis are greater than ours. Ches. כיוון שהטעם שאינו חי בתפילה כשטוב לא הבדיל, since the reason that he made is not required to he doesn't go back during davening. But he didn't say because he could make Havdalah on the cup. Therefore he has no cup that night, and he thinks tomorrow also won't have a cup, you have to go back and daven again. Even though the time of Havdalah is 3 days, but some seem to raise side success. You're still not going to pass for 3 days. Some seem to raise side meaning even if he has a cup tomorrow, but he wants to eat tonight, he has to go back and daven and say Havdalah during davening. But it's normal for a person to be able to skip the night meal. When Tisha B'Av comes out on Sunday, forget Tachan if you have to go back and say Tachan Tanu because to make Havdalah after the fast is over. But this is the end for today. But as it sounds right now, although there'll be exceptions, if you forgot Havdalah in Tachan Tanu, and you're not gonna have Havdalah on the coast for some reason, or you ate before you have Havdalah on the coast, then you have to go back and daven Shemona say Tachan Tanu again. Very big finish. No, not Seyat HaChulchan. Seyat HaChulchan the first time.